Hello, art friend. Today we're going to be painting on the floor, even more on the floor than usual, flat on the floor, because I'm going to be using a lot of water and I didn't want it to drip and spill everywhere. This is another painting that I have on the go, and I've been hesitant to work on it because I really like it, but it just doesn't feel finished. And I really admire Helen Frankenthaler, so I'm gonna try to put some of her influence into this painting. So it's going to be a lot of water, a lot of running paint. I'm trying to figure out what color I'm going to do. I have this color chart that I made for myself with that limited color palette of phthalo blue, yellow, and magenta. It's really helpful if you do that. You can see how many colors that I can make with just those 3 colors. And I'm using a paper palette. These paper palettes are really cool because you can save them and tear them up and use them for collage if you want to. You can see some old ones to the right there on the floor. So I decided I'm going to do like a pale blue. So I've got my phthalo blue and I want it to be desaturated. So my trick for that is to put a little bit of brown in the blue. I'm getting some white paint. I want it to be really light and airy. Kind of mix that up. Another option to make a desaturated blue with your limited color palette would be to take a little bit of your magenta and yellow and mix that together to make an orange and add a little bit of that to your blue, and that would also desaturate it. I'm using the spatula there just to see if I think that color would look nice on the painting. Ultimately, I decided that, to make it more cohesive, I am going to use that magenta and yellow. And because those are the colors that I used in the painting, that'll make this new blue pretty cohesive with the rest of the colors. That's a nice little trick. I'm just going to use a tiny bit of that. That looks pretty good. I went and visited a local lake the other night on the boat, and we did some fishing, and I think that may be where this watery inspiration came from. So I'm gonna add a lot of water to the canvas first before I put the paint on. And then just rub it in really delicately. You're gonna see that it makes some cool streaks. And depending on how much paint is mixed in with the water, be how opaque the paint is. I'm trying to do a mixture of both, more opaque and less opaque. I'm using that spatula to add some more texture as well. This is a really fun way for me to paint. I really enjoyed this, and I think I'm going to go back to the painting from video 1 and 2 and do this process on it as well. I want these videos to be pretty chill and we just hang out, we paint together. So if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about while I'm painting, I think I'm up to like 4 subscribers now. So the 4 of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. If you want to talk about anything, let me know. I'm just tapping some white into that blue paint, adding lots of water. It was so fun. You should really try it. Because I'm tapping it with so much water, I'm gonna have splatters that move to the other portion of the painting that I haven't touched. I'll put some close-ups in at the end too so you can see what kind of effects that I got. So to give it some contrast, I'm gonna draw into the paint. The paint's still really wet, so it's gonna blend and bleed. And then to pull some cohesion, I'm gonna go over some of the marks that I already had with that same technique. And adding some more water on top of that. And splattering that on the canvas. As I'm doing this voiceover, the painting hasn't dried yet, so I haven't even seen what the end result is looking like. So it'll be a surprise for us both. I've got it in a landscape orientation here, but the painting actually goes in the portrait orientation. I'm going to do some finger painting, because why not? I mixed some orange to go with the other orange areas in the painting. And I'm smearing it through the wet paint. I hope this inspires you to go and paint something. And if it is just some really watery paint and painting with your fingers. Got more of like a greeny color now. And just adding some softness to the other half of the painting so that it blends together nicely. I had a lot of purple pastel in this piece. I thought I really want to focus on the blue and the orange, so I got rid of a lot of the purple, but I ended up adding a little bit of light purple again at the end. When Helen Frankenthaler did this. It was called Soaking and Staining, and she used oil paint, thinned down oil paint, and it would soak into the canvas. And she'd do it on a huge scale. That must have been so much fun to pour paint on like a, I don't know, 20-foot canvas. Some of them are monstrous, but so beautiful and so soft. Splatter some more green. Add some variety. Add some marks, interesting marks. And adding that to that left side of the canvas too, so that we have some connection between the left and the right side. There's a strong focus in the middle of the canvas right now. That yellow and orange and blue right in the center. I usually wouldn't do that, so we'll see what happens. Usually you want to try and stick to a third. So if you divided the canvas up into a grid of 3s, so you'd have 9 squares, you ideally want to put it on one of those thirds. I'm using some of those pastels, water-soluble wax pastels. I'm gonna flip the canvas around so that I can get to the other side and just have a different view of what I've got going on. Bringing the canvas closer to me, I noticed, or that edge closer to me, I noticed that there was some dark pink on the very edge there. I wanted to emphasize that, so I'm putting, in a second, I put a nice swoop of green in there too, just to add some movement. But in a minute, I'm gonna add some pink. Some more swoops. That'll add some energy to the painting, some movement. And I'm going over some of the marks that I already did at the top so that they're layered. So it doesn't just look like a drawing on top of paint. It's layered between layers of paint. It'll make it more interesting. There's that pink paint that I was talking about, the magenta. I'm just kind of drumming on the canvas to get some more interesting marks. And there's some of that light purple I was talking about. When I drummed those red marks on, looking back at the video, I thought they looked pretty nice, but at the time I did not like them. I thought they looked like little bleeding holes. So I put some of that purple on top and added some water. What do you guys think? Do you like it softer now and watery like this, or did you prefer it at the beginning where it's more graphic? Again, to make the layers feel more interesting, I'm adding some orange on top of that orange that was already there. And that's the last thing I did. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you just found me, please subscribe. That means so much to me, and I'll see you again.